Hey everybody, and Tony here, and I finally reached 202 subscribers. And as a thank you gift to all of you for being very awesome, for subscribing to my channel, and for also keeping up with a lot of the content I have to upload, I present to you my review of Verdi's Rigoletto, starring George Gagnidze in the title role, Yosep Kang as the Duke, and Olga Peretyatko as Gilda. On the podium was Gianpaolo Bisanti, and this was also the same production I saw 2 years ago, and I also did a review of, with Jan Bosse on the director's chair, and with the production designs and the costumes done respectively by Stéphane Lemay and Catherine Platt. And the one thing that really stood out with this production was Rigoletto's costume in the first act, which looked like a cross between Max's pajamas from Maurice Sendak, Where the Wild Things Are, and the Snuffleupagus's fur if it were to be dyed in gold. Yeah, I will let that image sink in. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's get on to the main reason why this was also my 202 sub special. This is because of the three principals that starred in these roles: Gagnidze, Kang, and Peretyatko. And let's get on to what I thought about them. Starting off with George Gagnidze in the title role of Rigoletto. Over the years, I have known George Gagnidze as a very fine interpreter of the huge dramatic baritone roles of Verdi and Puccini, and basically the Italian, French, and Slavic repertoire in general. I've seen a couple of clips of him on YouTube, and he has a very magnificent voice. I wasn't so sure of how it's going to hold up in the house, but once I heard his voice and once I managed to hear him sing this wonderful character, I was totally blown away. His voice is steely, meaty, yet so gorgeous, so raw in its power and its emotion, and totally homogeneous throughout all the registers. It's a virile instrument. It's an exciting instrument, and it is something that I definitely enjoyed and something I always love to hear in any great dramatic baritone. Similar voices with this type of timbre would usually involve the likes of Gian Giacomo Guelfi, Anselmo Coltanni, and Tito Gobbi, just to name a few. His stage presence is absolutely commanding, but his biggest asset is, without a doubt, his vocal resources. What he does with his voice, with all of the notes he has to sing, whether he sings low, medium, or high, he sings it effectively. And he sings each of his notes with a certain ring and ping. I just get easily excited, expecting more and more, and I am just totally blown away. This was a gentleman I have been wanting to see on stage for quite some time, and he did not disappoint whatsoever. He actually exceeded my expectations. And then we get to the role of the Duke, sung by the wonderful lyric tenor Yosep Kang. I first heard this tenor live singing Tamino from Zauberflöte, Edgardo from Lucia de la Marmore, and Hillis from Le Troyon. And hearing him sing the role of this very thankless yet very rewarding Verdi tenor character was a treat. More than just a treat, but it was just something that was so exciting. His stage presence was full of swagger and vivacity and so much virility that I was totally engaged. And his vocal resources were at the top tier level of singing. He sings his notes effortlessly. He sings all his notes with a piercing quality, as if though that gold and silver came out from his mouth and just produced a cascade of sound and beauty. Yes, I would have loved to hear him sing the high D from Possente Amor Me Chiama, which, honestly, I would always love to hear when any tenor sings that, but it didn't matter if he didn't sing it. I thought his portrayal of the Duke, along with his singing, along with his acting, along with his everything, was totally flawless from beginning to end, and it was one of the most exciting I have ever seen on stage. And then we have Olga Peretyatko as Gilda. Over the years, I have followed this wonderful coloratura soprano's career. I first heard about her ever since I was only a 15-year-old teenager, and I caught a couple of clips of her singing on YouTube. Specifically, the Queen of the Night's first aria, O Zittr nicht, and of course, Caro Nome from Rigoletto. And I kind of asked myself, how is her career going to be jettisoned even further? And behold, she has finally found herself singing a lot of bel canto roles from Rossini, Donizetti, and Bellini, and even to some Verdi, and even some of the French and German repertoire. She basically started out singing a lot of these delicious and sparky soubrettish soprano parts like Papagena, Gianetta, and Blonde. She also developed later into a coloratura soprano, singing a lot more of the traditional coloratura soprano parts like the Queen of the Night, Gilda, and Adina. And then we see her specializing in a lot of the bel canto repertoire, like Elvira from I Puritani, Violetta from Traviata, Desdemona from Rossini's Otello, even the more dramatic coloratura stuff like Donna Anna from Don Giovanni, and also Lucia de Lammermoor, lest I forget. And that's just to name a few of the repertoire she has sung. Plus, I also have her first album, La Bellezza del Canto, which I purchased about 4 years ago when I was vacationing in Hong Kong with my family. And believe me, I will get to that CD eventually. Well, most likely in the summer. Olga Peretyatko as Gilda. What more can I say about her? This has to be one of her signature roles. I say it as a great compliment to this wonderful singer. She has sung this role in a lot of opera houses all over the world. And her singing, her acting, her characterization, her overall interpretation, and her overall manner in this role, everything that Olga Peretyatko embodied in Gilda, she did it fabulously. To say that her singing and everything that she offered was masterful is a freaking understatement. It's a godsend. It's godly what she does. She manages to really pour out her prime vocal resources, whether she sings softly or with clarity and with a declamatory power. And all of her high notes were clarion, scintillating, and sparkling. I especially love her high E flat in the Si Vendetta duet, and also that high D that she sings after the storm scene. She was absolutely flawless as Gilda. As she's been singing this role for many years, I'd say she probably sang this about 10 years or so. And it definitely shows that she's a singer who is very intelligent and continues to find a lot of nuances, colors. And what I seem to notice about her interpretation of Caro Nome is that at times she does some funny trills, which I thought were really, really lovely. Yes, at times they seemed kinda okay, interesting. But with that said, I thought that her singing all throughout was very focused, very well done, and just so scintillating all throughout. Her technique is of the highest order, and I can't wait to see a lot more of her in the near future. Then we get to the Assassin Sparaffucile, sung by the grand German basso profondo, Albert Pesendorfer. What more can I say about this gentleman? He is a master when it comes to singing all of these fine basso profondo roles. And his singing of Sparaffucile is very masterful. First of all, I always love it when a round, rich, cavernous, and mountainous basso profondo voice sings this type of role. It basically adds a lot of menace and a lot of bite to this character. And with Pesendorfer singing this wonderful character role, he excelled in every single way. And then we have his sister, Maddalena, sung tonight by the wonderful mezzocontralto Annika Schlicht. Granted, I always love it when Maddalena is sung by a plummier contralto voice. My ideal voice types for this thankless character role would be the likes of G. Madeira, Margareta Klose, or Adriana Lazzarini. And I thought that with Annika Schlicht as Maddalena, she really gave it her all when it came to performing in this character role. She adds a lot of gravitas to her voice and a sinuous and absolutely fine color with hues of amber and a burnished tone to really make Maddalena come alive. She also did the role of Giovanna. Also worth mentioning about this production is that this was also yet another production where the mezzo also sings Giovanna aside from Maddalena. With her as Giovanna, she basically had a lighter color to her voice to make Giovanna very sympathetic and seem like the big sister type to Gilda. So overall, I found Annika Schlicht as both Maddalena and Giovanna a testament to how versatile she can really be as a singer. And now we get to Count Monterone, sung tonight by another grand dramatic baritone, Bastian Efering. Even though I always love it when a bass baritone or a basso cantante sings this ungrateful part, Mr. Efering brings to the table is a fine sense of charisma, energy, and a burnished baritone voice. He has been singing a lot of the grand dramatic baritone roles for years, and he continues to give the goods with a fine technique, a commanding, muscular, and handsome stage presence, and lots of charisma that he offers to this otherwise extremely ungrateful role. He gives the goods. He doesn't skimp out of the goods whatsoever, and he delivers it to the best of his abilities. So kudos to you, Mr. Efering. Then we get to the secondary parts of Marulo, sung by Thomas Lehmann, and I thought he did very fabulously with his trademark lyric baritone voice. Borsa, sung by Alvaro Zambrano, with his gorgeously tuned lyric tenor voice, and who knows, maybe in 10 years' time, he might end up singing the Duke. The Count Ceprano, sung tonight by the wonderful bass baritone Andrew Harris, who continues to deliver such burnished and black tones thanks to his masculine and virile basso voice. And the equally thankless roles of the Contessa Ceprano, sung tonight by the wonderful lyric soprano Elbenita Caitazzi, the serving woman, sung tonight by the gorgeous lyric mezzo Rebecca Jo Loeb, and the serving gentleman, sung tonight by the wonderful bass baritone Marco Mimica. So overall, what more can I say about the singing? It's top tier. It's a star-studded cast, and I was so excited to make this review thanks to them. And special kudos has to go to George Gagnidze, Olga Peretyatko, and Yosep Kang. You guys did excellently in these wonderful main characters, and I salute you all. And the conducting done by Maestro Giampaolo Besanti was totally well done. Sure, at times the chorus and orchestra and some of the singers didn't really go together, but it's a small price to pay for what is a very solid package. He pays close attention to the text, and he also pays close attention to the notes as to be expected from different conductors, and he does his job very well. So overall, this was definitely worth it as my 202 subscriber special. And as I said before, I'd like to give a huge shout out to George Gagnidze, Olga Peretyatko, and Yosep Kang for being very awesome. Oh, and I also have their autographs. This is Olga Peretyatko's, and this is George Gagnidze's and Yosep Kang's. You guys were absolutely awesome. I give you a huge amount of kudos. And just keep rocking, you guys. Just keep rocking because you guys are really awesome. And I'd also like to give a huge thank you to all of my subscribers for being very awesome, for being totally cool, and for keeping up with everything I have to give in this channel. Yes, I know it's not an easy job for me to upload a lot of reviews and a lot of content here on my channel, but you guys have supported me very well, and this channel could not have existed without you guys. So bravo to all of you. I thank you from the deepest depths of my heart. You all rock. And thank you all for making this 202 subscriber special a very awesome one. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow where I review Mozart's Die Entführung aus dem Serail, also the Deutsche Oper Berlin. And it stars the likes of Catherine Levick, Siobhan Stagg, Matthew Newlin, James Krishik, and Tobias Kira as the main singers. So until then, good night everybody, and thank you so much for keeping this channel alive. Thank you to all the singers. Thank you to all the musicians. Thank you, everyone. My heart and everything else in me is so full of gratitude right now, and I wish you all a very, very great summer.